Let me lower my volume and keep an eye on the. And apparently we are live. We are live. Craft Tequila. I saw Craft Tequila over there, said that she'll be lurking. So, yes, we'll see if anybody else pops up. I know this is kind of out of the blue. This is the new time period for the four Beardsmen of the Apocalypse. I see Charlie Welch in the house. I saw his comment pop up. Oh, I need to lower that because my volume's up. Hey, Charlie, good to see you. And a member of the Godless Army, which is pretty badass. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the new time slot for the. It's going to be basically around 5 p.m. Central Time. So it's more accommodating to Tony over in Australia and Irish over in Ireland. Unfortunately, it's only two of us. It's only two Beardsmen at the moment. And the reason for that is because Johnny is having a kind of a medical issue with his eye. I think he needs to go to the clinic and get his eye looked at because he's having some difficulties there. He talked about him before on a previous stream, and Irish is dealing with the things he's dealing with. He let me know over Messenger that stuff is kind of tense over in Ireland right now. So I do not fault him for not being able to be here while he needs to focus on family. So for right now, you get two Beardsmen. You get JL and PhD Tony.
Yes. The only real Beardsman. Or the only real person who claims to be a Beardsman.
Well, I like that your beard is coming in.
Okay. Well, it's getting hairy enough that I'm considering trimming it again. But
no, we can see it.
Yeah, okay.
We can actually see the beard. It is officially a beard. Is no longer a chin strap. So it is legitimately a beard. Yeah, you have finally arrived.
All right. Well, that's very nice of you.
Remember, beards are a sign of wisdom. It took me a long time to accumulate the knowledge and wisdom I have, and even longer to grow the beard to justify the knowledge and wisdom that I have. So.
Okay. Well, so yes, let's impart some wisdom, shall we?
Yes.
I noticed you were doing so the other day on your first legitimate live stream.
Yes. I had the first legit live stream. It was awesome. It was my first monetized live stream. My first time. Channel memberships are up. You can become a member of the Godless Army for the low price of 99 cents a month because I don't feel that I'm that valuable. So you'll probably only find it for it'll probably be $1 for forever. So 99 cents a month, you can be a member of the Godless Army and of course get access to the cool emojis that I have made for y'all, which I think are fun. I think I have a flying spaghetti monster. I've got David Hume. I've got Aristotle, and I've got the atheism symbol. So, and I will come up with more as soon as when there's more members, it'll unlock more emojis so I can create more. I have a whole bunch already made, a whole bunch of ideas here for new emojis for my channel that people gave me during the live stream, and good stuff, super creative. What did I do with that list? Let's see. Let me see. People said, why can't I keep my notes organized? Why can't I? Oh, is it Saturday? There it is. Donut Earth, a flat Earth emoji, Otangelo tears. I'm not sure how I'm going to pull that one off, but I can try and pull that one off. A toxic Darth emoji, red duct tape Darth. So like Darth, I guess, with red duct tape over his mouth, that would be good. A Darth Malkins would be a good one, I guess. Yeah. Hollow Earth, the Ghostbuster symbol, because people need me. I guess I need to get off because Ghosts is the running gag, and a biohazard Darth. So those were the super fun emoji suggestions. Let me see here. So before we dive, because I have something I want to share with the live chat, and we want to catch up with you now that you're feeling so much better and you're good to go. So what's going on? So in the live chat, hey, Crafty Keela, say yes, you'll be lurking. Good to see you. Charlie Welch as well. Demon Orb Awesome to see you. Basic Trig. Sexiest name on the internet. Oh, Marcus Dresden. Yes, PhD Tony for the win with all stars. You get all gold stars today, Tony. Good stuff. Kevin
He's
Paul.
very kind.
Yes. Kevin Paul, 2 Beardsmen in nighttime. Yes, Kevin Paul, who saved my ass in my stream yesterday by finding a quick fix so I could go live. Thank you, Kevin. Let me see here. Facty's in the house. Good to see you. Facty, this is different. This will be the new time frame. You'll see this. Charlie Welch says, maybe Otangelo has a beard. He will no doubt be here momentarily. Probably. But I know that Otangelo does not have a beard. I don't know if he's capable of growing one. I'll just leave that on the desk where I've said it. Turing Test 2 is in the house. The point of a beard is zero management. This is very true. And to convey wisdom and intelligence. My wife saw a shirt she wanted to get me where it has like lines, like levels going down. Mm-hmm. And it from like the top is like lumber. Oh, so no. I think there's like levels like professional, but it keeps going down. Like one point it's like lumberjack, and then all the way down at the bottom by the waist, it's like wizard. So you grow it out like the length of what your title is, the longer it gets. So she wants to get me that, but I actually think this is the longest my beard can genetically get. I think I've reached the cap for the length. So. Let's see. Jarl says, Webart, good to see you, a member of the Godless Army, says, can we change the name of the show? JL and the Other Beardsmen? This is not my show.
There have been occasions where JL has failed to show up. But anyway.
This is true.
But real life is real life, and it's not, this is great. And welcome to Theranthalus, Theranthalus 42.
I see him. Yeah, Theranthalus. New here. Fantastic. Welcome, Theranthalus. Yep. And someone said, let me see, JL is just a gothic OT with a teardrop. Let me see. Kevin Paul says, I reckon we can make one with your head and your cheesy grin. Apparently my cheesy grin is a thing that I've got going for me. When I do the little be safe, be excellent to each other. We'll see you next time. Yeah. So I guess that could be an emoji as well. I could probably just shrink my head down into that emoji. That would be cute. Second best Bob, good to see you, and says, hello all, I'm off to bed. Well, have a good rest. Commander Darklight, member of the Godless Army. Good to see you, Commander Darklight. So many of my channel members up in here. And remember, if you're a channel member, you do get you should also be moderating because we do get the crazy Otangelo nuttiness in here. So remember, we give him the benefit of the doubt, but the minute he crosses the line, we will mod that out. So because we don't need Tony going PhD Toba again.
Yeah.
All right. Sir Little Wolf is in the house. Good to see you, Sir Little Wolf. Fantastic. Elizabeth Sylvester. It is going well. Thank you, Hannah. I hope you are feeling better. And glad to see you up and about, and glad to see you part of the stream. And Facty, good to see you. And I think that's it for right now. So Sir Little Wolf says he can only drop in for a bit. That's all good. Just thank you for stopping by and saying hi. Appreciate it. And Theranthalus would like to thank you, Tony, for getting his name or getting their name right. I don't know the gender there. Okay. I don't want to assume, but getting their name right does not happen often.
Okay, well, I have to say it's written phonetically. It doesn't seem that complicated, but yes, that's why I get the big bucks, I suppose.
What can you say? You're an expert in nameology.
Nameology, yes.
Mr. Malort is in the house. Greetings. Greetings from Chicago, or to Chicago, because I'm not in Chicago. But greetings, Mr. Malort. Good to see you. Your shirt should be arriving here shortly. Your latest win. It should have already arrived, or it should arrive shortly. I'm not sure, but let me know if that doesn't show up. Because sometimes Teespring doesn't really update the tracking information, but that shirt should be arriving for you. The one you won from Week in Horror. And just call me Abby's in the house. Good to see you. Just kept reloading your page, JL, not streaming on the Beardsman YouTube channel. Yeah, we decided to move off of that. If you care to say anything regarding that, I don't want to dominate the stream. So
well, there's Yeah, I kind of. Sorry, you had such a flow going. There's a there's just sort of, for me, I'm the only one that isn't monetized. So actually having live streams on my channel would actually be helpful in getting my view hours up. There are arguments both ways as far as this is concerned.
Sweet, yeah. Anyway. And one thing that was recommended during the live stream last night was somebody recommended that we should do and kind of like an education stream on doing all this, on setting up, like using different streaming software and plugging it into YouTube. Like, because I had a question last night, it was like when you just, because I downloaded streamlabs.obs. And when I fired it up, it was like, I kind of recognize this because it's similar to OBS, but I could not find where to input the stream key to link the two. And I was like, what the hell? Because I couldn't just go live on StreamYard without the stream key to connect it to YouTube. And I was like, and I couldn't find it. So Kevin is the one who helped me find it. And it's literally buried in an area that you wouldn't, you would take some serious hunting to find this thing. It wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's crap. I hate it when it's like that. It's not user-friendly at all. But we eventually got it working. Yeah. So, but a stream to educate people on that would probably be very, very helpful.
Yeah, that would be helpful because a lot of this stuff isn't very intuitive at all. Actually, it's highly proprietary software, and I think there are a lot of intricacies about linking up audio with streams that the average person has never encountered before, and so it comes across as extremely technical.
Agreed, definitely. So, looks like just call me Abby needed some cheering up. Bad day in work today. Looking forward to my new job. Alas, notice when you've been in the same job for 7 years. I get that feeling as well. Have the same, even though I hated the soulless job I was at. I was there for 6.5 years. And when I left, it was still kind of hit because you put so much time and effort. It's the sunk cost fallacy. You've put so much into it and you're anticipating a return. You're basically anticipating an ROI. And when you don't get that ROI after all that hard work and investment and all of the shit that you have to swallow, yeah, it stings. It stings, no doubt. And Elizabeth says, happy that you're online because I was watching old videos because I'm bored. We are here to entertain and inform, which is fun. So I wanted to throw something out. This was really, really interesting. And I wanted to get the live chats kind of like take on this because this has never happened to me before. This was a first. And I can get your input as well. So I wish the other guys were here. Take it easy, Sir Little Wolf. So I did my live stream and was on there for about 3 hours. And that was a lot of fun. That was an absolute blast. Everybody was amazing. Thank you to all the new channel members. You guys rocked. And I got off and I was like, you know what? I've got to get some writing done. I got to get the new script prep for Week in Horror. I just had work I had to do. So I was like, going in there. I started doing the actual work. And I was like, I need something to listen to. And I just wasn't in the mood to listen to anything to listen to my music list on YouTube. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to listen to Discord. So I popped into Discord and there's a stage going on. So it's like, there was the atheist stage going on. So like, okay, sweet. So I'm going to, I'm just going to pop in. I'm just going to listen and it was going to be good. So then I listened for a bit and then it was really, really slow. It wasn't great. And I'm not saying that I can liven it up, but I was like, you know what? I got to a stopping place and I jumped in the stage and started talking to people. So yeah, I tried to bring some energy and things were looking up and everything was going great. Ran into some theists. I gave them some good alternate ways of looking at things, so some good critical questions that they never considered asking. And that's the whole point of it. So it was going really well. And then this Muslim, said, because he wanted to defend Allah, this Muslim gets in to we invite him up because, there's really no screening on these stages. So we invite this person up and he sounds cool. It's all cordial, wants to defend Allah and was going about his thing. And then he started asserting the Quran. And I was sitting there in my mind. I was like, okay, this is just going to be like, Quran, surah, whatever. So I'm kind of half listening. And I was looking at my phone because somebody messaged me. And then all of a sudden, I asked the dude, okay, so why should I believe the Quran? And then he asked, well, let me give you an example. And then he says, these are the words that came out of his mouth. And I'm not going to quote him directly because that would be silly. in public like this. But he then says, imagine that I'm an ordinary American living at an address, and he gives an address, like a legit, from number to zip code address, and married to my beautiful wife, Angela, and like this. And it didn't really click at first. And I'm sitting here looking at my phone, and then I was like, wait, what? Because there were enough words in there that clicked that I saw that I heard the pattern. I was like, wait a minute. And then I'm sitting there going, so this has never happened to me before, ever. He said this now. There was only about 40 people in the room. And so he just dropped this thing. And then we immediately shut him down. And then the Discord admin, the Discord owner, the server owner came in. His name's Blackout, went in. He shut it down. He banned the dude completely, whatever. But yeah, it's like legit straight. And what he did, the information he dropped was old information of mine. The address he dropped was an old address of mine. I no longer live there anymore. Okay? But he dropped my wife's name. Now, I'm not shocked by this. If you took 10 minutes to look me up, you could find my info. I have nothing to hide, and I'm not scared of anybody coming by my house. I got to be honest. It would be a mistake for someone to do so. But it happened, and I was like, "What? This has never occurred before." I was laughing. That I was like, "This is wild. This has never happened." I have had people throw me death threats on those stages. Like like, "Hey, come on up. What you got for us tonight?" "Oh, you kill you." Then I was like, okay, you're gone. You're banned. It's all good, and it's novel. But this time I was like, wow, this really happens.
Yeah. So, well, I think you kind of need to dissect the sequence of events a little bit. So obviously this person had premeditated the entire encounter.
Because it was smooth. It was,
yeah. So, so they knew, so they had clearly put significant thought into what I used the word thought, and then it just struck me as funny. But because it isn't really funny. It isn't really thoughtful. But they've tried to avoid responsibility for what's going on, right? So their claim to be a Muslim, I wouldn't necessarily give that any weight. I think that this is probably one of the Christians you've pissed off who just came in. Yeah.
Well, that was the interesting thing, because I actually think he was a Muslim, because when he said Allah, he followed it by what Muslims follow Allah with. And he rattled it off like it was natural. Like when he said Muhammad, he was like, and I want to talk about Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I was like, when it's natural like that, there was just a natural to it. I mean, otherwise he's a really good actor. So I'll give him that. Yeah. Well, it was enough to fool me. Oh, and welcome Alpha K91 to the Godless Army. Do appreciate it. New member, Alpha K91. And Elizabeth actually beat me to it. So thank you, Elizabeth. I do appreciate that. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is somebody, like I say, who had considerable time and effort put into this exercise. So they clearly, they had time to sort of prep themselves for it. But whatever, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I kind of think that if you're going to do that, you might also choose it to. You might also use this opportunity to discredit a religion you don't like. But
is anybody else hearing that staticky? PhD, Tony, say something.
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's coming from you.
Okay. Well, let me just try something here.
No problem. Yeah, we figured it out. We're gonna sort it. Yeah. Oh, that was wild. So, while he had Bug Zapper. So while Tony is looking, Tony's a ghost. Tony has become a robot. Lovecraftian horror right there. Yes, just call me Abby. Absolutely. Lovecraftian horror. Okay, so he's going to reconnect here in just a moment. We'll bring him back on as soon as he gets that sorted. So I kind of want to get the live chat's thoughts on this, that this person just came right out. Is it novel? I mean, I'm not worried about anybody coming to my home or anything like that nature. I mean, number one, the new place that I live is not updated in any database. So, and it's probably not going to happen for some time. So the question is, what's gonna go down? I mean, I don't think anything's gonna happen, but this is just so new to me, and it's never been done to me. And my reaction was to laugh, was to be like, oh, this is so novel and funny. And am I responding correctly or? And yes, Thranthulus, yes, it is a touch creepy. It's a bit creepy because it was so smooth. It wasn't like he was like, I'm an average American living at blah, 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 blah. No, he had it prepped. Like it was scripted. Like he wrote, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this to him. And what was wild was he did that. And I was so surprised by it that my initial reaction was, I asked him, why are you trying to dox me? And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, the information that you just said, the address and everything, are you attempting to dox me? And he was like, no, I'm just saying something. I'm just speaking. Like he was speaking hyperbolically. Like he was just setting an example. I happen to be this person. He was just being very in depth, but he wasn't daring to dox me. He was just throwing out information that just happened to match previous information on me. So that's the way he was trying to play it off. So it was just like, wow. Let me see. Crafty Keela says, people have become too accustomed to not dealing with consequences that they feel safe. It may seem funny now, but it's dangerous behavior. Who else has he done it to? Who's next? No idea, but I can guarantee you, on that particular name, he will not be. Actually, no, because when you ban from a server on Discord, you ban their IP. So that it's not just the names. They can't just create another name from the computer and jump into that server. Once your IP is banned, you cannot join to Discord via that IP. So that's what's smart about Discord. So it may be some time. It will require a great deal more effort for him to create another name to do it again to somebody else. But yeah, I mean that's true. I haven't seen it. It was and then he was trying. Yes, Crafty. He was trying to gaslight me. So he turned it from a dox into a gaslight. So it was a combo. It was like,
Yeah, he's done the odd one too. But it is quite dangerous and quite sinister behavior. The only purpose in doing it is to make you feel insecure.
Would we use the T word when we describe that kind of action? That it's
no, you wouldn't, because that requires a political component.
Okay.
So
I was thinking, the want to inspire or spread, fear in that respect is.
It by definition that requires a political. You wouldn't call domestic violence you wouldn't classify domestic violence in that, even though it does involve the inspiration of severe, severe fear. But so the generally accepted requirement is that needs a political component.
Gotcha.
In much in the manner of Baader Meinhof or any of those groups.
Okay.
It's an attempt at intimidation, and I think that what I want to transition slightly in the conversation. Mm-hmm. What gets me is the willingness of religious people to lie or intimidate, threaten, attack, when if you ask them, that's not what their religion is about, right? You ask them, they'll tell you that their religion is not about love and peace. And
I was just thinking peace and love. It's like about peace and love and harmony.
Yeah. and and they but they're willing to do thoroughly immoral and despicable things in protection of their religion. And
Yes.
this is kind of the point at, the point that sort of gets me is that they kind of the religion becomes subordinate to the institution, which is to say the protection of the institution is more important, and at that point, immoral acts in service of the institution are justified. They're perfectly rational and reasonable things to do.
Right.
Even and it's a gateway drug. Like, okay, yes, that's evil, but it serves my religion, and that's good. So is the good that is done to the religion outweigh the evil that was done to one or two people or by one or two people? And that, a person may say, even if I'm going to go to hell as a result of it, that's not that's a price I'm willing to pay, because it's in service to my cause, my greater religion. And it's
it's one of the fail-safes. One of those fail-safes they have built into it, that the negative responses you get for what you're doing, or the backlash you receive from whatever you're doing, reaffirms your faith, because that means you're dealing with people who are rejecting it. They're just like they're blind to it, or they refuse to believe it. So when they lash out at you, you're doing the right work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you win people, if you convert people, you win. And if you get rejected, you win. You can't lose. One of those many fail-safes that are literally baked into the religion itself, very similar to, God answers prayers. Like, does God answer prayers? So if God answers your prayer, then he wills it. And if he does it, it's because he didn't will it. That he or God works in mysterious ways. So either way, all prayers are answered. Sometimes it's not the answer that you want. And that's a good trapdoor or a loophole to get out of that. It'd be like, well, then how could we possibly say what is an answered prayer and not an answered prayer? There's no method of comparison. It's a violation of the law of identity. So it's like, come on.
Sorry, just a second.
You looking at the chat?
I am looking at the chat.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. All right.
Now you sound good. Yeah. Before it was just a little scratchy.
Okay.
All right. Let me see here. We got some stuff in the chat. So Crafty said, yeah, he was trying to gaslight me. Agreed. Hey, Dark Steve. Good to see you. Got a lot of amazing, our amazing patrons from Week in Horror up in here as well. So good to see you all. Love you guys. Jarl says, yeah, getting a different IP is really simple. It's really easy. I use Surfshark. I do. And although I found Surfshark screws with my World of Warcraft login, which is really annoying, because security on BattleNet security is very, very tight. So if you jump IPs, they shut that down real fast, and it's so annoying. So I can't. I hate that crap. Mm-hmm. But it's it's what we have to do. Just call me. It says, question for both: what is the max speed an aircraft can? What is the max speed an aircraft can fly at within the atmosphere? It's part of a current project. I.e., can a craft fly at 7 times the speed of sound?
There are sort of attempts at various hypersonic, there are attempts at various hypersonic crafts. The problem is that the friction gets so large and the drag gets so large that you overcome the mechanical strength and the thermal strength of the materials. So there's actually a limit to how quickly you can go. And if technically, if you're talking about an aircraft with control surfaces and all of that sort of thing, I think the current limit is about Mach 4, something like that.
Well, I looked
think,
it up. I looked it up. It says that the average cruising speed for a passenger jet is around 575 miles per hour. That is, however, a patch on the top speed ever achieved by an aircraft, which is a record held by the Lockheed Blackbird, which grazed 2,193 miles per hour in 1976. So that was the fastest. That's the fastest record ever held by a jet. I guess a jet. And then currently right now the North American X-15 is the fastest aircraft in the world. This aircraft has the current world record for the fastest manned aircraft. Its maximum speed was Mach 6.7, which about 7,200 kilometers an hour, which it attained and maintained on the 3rd of October, 1967. So Mach 6. So almost Mach 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nice,
oh, whoa. Okay, you're going robot again.
Wow. How is that happening?
I have no idea.
Okay. Holy dooly. Let me just.
Do you have anything running, like another program pulling resources in the back? Like when you're trying to set it up previously?
I have on Windows, but did that fix anything right there?
No, it's still Johnny 5. Ghost in the machine. All right, well, he is looking at that one. Let me don't want to do that. So I think, just call me Abby. I think that's the best answer I could get for your question. Was I think that the maximum is Mach 6.7. So Test says, surely most people are on temporary IPs from their ISP. I know that, but I think the vast majority of people are. It's really smart to do in these days. Jarl, don't know. I didn't know. When that person was on the stage, I did not see them with the mobile icon on Discord. So I think they were on their computer. Crafty says, I have no experience with any of that kind of stuff. Goes back to lurking. Agreed. Crafty, you are the queen of dealing with this stuff and dealing with it with style. Charles says Tony's still a bit ghosty. Yeah, he's working with it. AJ Heeb, guten Abend, guten, or is this technically guten? That's not night technically yet. It's getting into the afternoon. Let's see. It does sound like the sound is up. Oh yeah, Charles says it sounds like the sound is upside down. Just call it. It's because Tony, you're upside down, so it takes more effort to get up the curve than for me to go down the curves. It's momentum. That's what it is. I have momentum with my signal, and then you have to fight to go up. Just call me. Obviously, says hell is overrated. Hell is overrated. But I will say this: if there is a hell and I'm going there, virtually every person I am friends with and that I love on this planet is also going with me. So at least I'll be in good company. I could say that I'll be in good company. Eternal torture is not too bad when you're in good company. Let's see. You don't think that's more about Tony. That smug, just call me Abby. That smug face on JL. Yeah, apparently I look smug quite often. I've been told that I sound smug, that I sound arrogant, that I am all kinds of crap. Yeah, I get a lot of crap on Discord from theists who get upset. And then they refuse to get on the stage and actually talk and actually engage with the subject. So I mean, that's on them. Let me see. Hopefully he'll be able to figure that out. No Average Joe is in the house. Good to see you. He says, I think it's awesome you've reached a new level of Discord celebrity. That's your first Discord paparazzi attack. Yes. Death threats and doxing. I have crossed those two. I've jumped those two hurdles. I've cleared those hurdles. So maybe I have arrived as a Discord celebrity. I don't know. But yeah. Just call me Abby. JL, your views and philosophies. Oh, thank you so much. No. It's a lot of reading. It's so much reading. I don't have a bookshelf in my office. My bookshelf is out in my living room. So when people walk into my home, they can see how many books I've read. Yeah, right. I voraciously read. My mother pushed it on me. She was like, read all the time. Everything you can get your hands on, and it just became a habit. You just build the habit of wanting to read. So I try to read as often as I can. I appreciate that. Just call me Abby. A lot of work, a lot of practice, a lot of study went into it. So appreciate it. It's nice to know when the amount of effort you've put in is recognized. So I appreciate that. Turing test is no close to Mach 3, I think. Maybe, I mean, I think I read what I was reading in that was the North American X15. Its maximum speed was Mach 6.7, 7,200 kilometers per hour. That's what I found on it. It could be wrong, so we'll find out. Let me see. Blackbird flew way up there. This is true. Come to the light, Tony. Ghost in the machine, possibly a loose plug. Someone popped a few balloons on the satellites. They must have dipped below the sun. That's why Tony's having difficulty. Well, it looks like he's back. Let's find out.
Hello.
Tony.
Yep. Did any of that work?
Yes.
Okay.
I can still hear myself a little bit, but it's low.
Okay.
I don't think it should be something you have to mess with unless the audience brings it up. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do the old trick of trying to do that.
AJ said, I thought the edibles were kicking in awfully fast for a second there. Whoa.
Got no idea what's going on. But yeah. Only 2 missing, says says Chris Dorham. Yes, only 2. That's pretty good by our standards. Yeah, but anyway.
Yes, Thranthulus. I do a horror stream as well. Horror films. Me and my filmmaker friends, we deep dive horror movies that came out chronologically that week in horror history. And it started out as kind of a hobby, and it's blown up into like a legit thing. We actually are creating our own film content, and we're about to enter season 3. So next month we start season 3 of A Week in Horror. It's been pretty badass, but yeah, that's been an awesome thing. Just call me Abs Sark. Trying it out. Bear with me. It takes time, Abby. It does. Dark Steve says there's more gravity down where Tony is.
Well, apparently this is erupted in the flat Earth sphere. That they've discovered what they regard as the Alice and Bob contradiction.
The Alice and Bob.
Yes, contradiction. So
okay.
If you imagine Alice and Bob separated on the surface of a sphere, then from Alice's perspective, there's a drop towards Bob. From Bob's perspective, there's a drop towards Alice. So as they're moving towards one another, they're both going downhill. And that cannot be the case. One of them at least must be going uphill, they argue. Apparently in complete ignorance of what the word down actually means. For the benefit, and it's one of the jokes that you traditionally get when you wander into a room of physicists and say, "What's up?" A physicist will turn around and say, "Up is the direction of maximally increasing gravitational potential." Or were you asking a different question? It's the gravitational potential of Alice and Bob in this example is not changing significantly. Therefore, they are not moving downwards. Another way of putting it is that their movement is orthogonal to what is downwards. So it's anyway.
They really don't get geometry, do they?
They don't get geometry. They don't get they don't get the concept of gravity. They don't get the concept of reality. Yes.
Apparently the gravity pools down at the bottom of the earth.
Well, that's the thing, that they're coming up with this idiotic thing because they look at a diagram and they go, well, down is clearly towards the bottom of this computer screen or the page or whatever they're looking at. No, that's not how anything works. As Clive Wells says.
That's not how that works. That's not how anything works.
Blue Marble Science went over it. Just think about it for 2 seconds.
Just commit a little bit of brain power in that direction. I think we think you may get there. We got some new stuff and new people in the house. NA has arrived. Good to see you, NA, Dr. Clive Wells. You have I don't think you have any idea how often I drop Dr. Clive Wells' name. I do.
Really?
I name drop him so hard. And when I start talking about physics, I was like, look, guys, don't take me as the authority on this. I have gone above and beyond to befriend the authorities in these fields. Okay, so I can go to them. So if there's a question I can't answer, I will go to them and ask. And I will say, okay, that's why I know Dr. Clive Wells, PhD in theoretical physics, and Dr. Anthony Purcell, PhD in geophysics. And these are resources. I befriended these people because, one, they're awesome people to know. They're just amazing people, chock full of information, and they're fun as hell to hang around. And two, because I don't fucking know everything. I want to go talk to people and do the work because I went into psychology. That's my background. That's my educational background. If you have a psychology question, you can come to me. Okay, but if I have a physics question, I'm going to one of y'all.
This is the thing. Like, I'm sure Clive would concede that he doesn't know everything, and I don't know everything. I mean, it's one of the things about being intellectual honesty.
Modesty.
Is the recognition that there's, that you're not well informed about everything, and that you need to listen to people who are more knowledgeable than you do, who know more about a particular topic. It is the mark of a fool to consider themselves ultimately knowledgeable on every subject. It just isn't true. That's not how knowledge works. It's not how knowledge can work.
It's kind of like when Darth asserts that everybody knows God exists, but they psychologically self-deceive themselves. So they psychologically are they what do? They commit psychological self-deception and say, well, I don't believe that it exists. I know it exists, but I don't believe it exists. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like I have a cordless drill on my desk. This is a cordless drill. I was doing some work in here, so that's why there's a cordless drill on my desk. Okay, I know the cordless drill is on my desk. I don't believe the cordless drill is on my desk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let me see.
It's just, well, it's a fatuous, so. At that point, you can go, well, there's no debate to be had, is there? Right?
Yeah.
You just claim axiomatically that God exists, and everybody knows God exists, and you just won the argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
there is no dichotomy. There is no dichotomy. It is God exists and you accept it, or God exists and you are lying about knowing that God exists. That's literally Darth. That's Darth's Christian worldview. That's what's in his head, which is messed up. Just run down this real quick. AJ Heeb says, "Oh, you just sound confident. Nothing wrong with that." I appreciate that, AJ. I really, really do. A lot of work goes into it, and I wasn't at first. I can tell you, I was very unconfident at first. It took a long time to build that up. See, Surf is in the house. Hello, Surf. Good to see you. And I saw NA dropped a super chat. Thank you so much for $6.66 freedom dollars. 666, I love it. Guess I'll see you in hell too. Hail Satan. Hail Satan, hail Sagan, and 616. So hell yes. And then Jeff Roberts is in the house. Good to see you, Jeff Roberts. Oh, I haven't seen Jeff. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope everything is going well. I hope everything's going good with you, dude. Haven't seen Jeff in a bit. Let me see. I saw a couple new people. Nick Sykes is in the house. Says the X-15 was rocket powered. Might have been a difference, yes. As far as like jets that we use, like either the military or commercial, that's a good point. The X-15 was rocket powered. Thank you, Nick, for pointing that out. Let me see here, and I think I saw the Tony said, Plothole says, yeah, unfortunately can't be here, but hope you're feeling better real soon. I'm trying to get through these, make sure I don't miss anybody. Tina Jones is in the house. Good to see you, Tina. Thank you for catching that, Tony, because I would have missed that. And Just Call Me Abby says, ooh, psychology. Can you psychoanalyze me? Might take a while. Me, myself, and I often argue about the smallest things, cracking an egg, for example, from the peak or from the bottom. What'll really bake your noodle is you're opening bananas wrong. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
So sorry, Abby, you're opening bananas wrong. Anyway, AJ says, I don't know if God exists, but I know that I don't know God exists. Yeah, like these individuals have like, you'll have like intimate access to our minds that we do not. I love that they state what reality is with no way to defend defend their version of reality. It's hilarious. Oh, what'd you open?
Just opening some Coke Zero.
Nick says, can I borrow your drill? You could, yeah. It's just a Ryobi. I mean, I'm not sponsored by Ryobi or anything, and I don't really endorse Ryobi. They're cheap and they're easy to replace if they get messed up, and they do the job as long as you're not doing something super, super heavy duty. Like if you're working with concrete or you're working with brick, I would not recommend this. But if you're working with just basic wood, that especially the softer woods, or you're just doing basic household shit, this is a good little $80 drill, and it does its job. And the lithium batteries are easy to replace, and they hold a charge pretty good. So I wouldn't complain. I don't complain about them. A lot of people don't like Ryobis. I like that they're the interchangeable batteries. That the batteries, the 18-volt lithium that they have here, I can use this on any one of my Ryobi appliances. I can use it in the leaf blower. I can use it in the weed trimmer. I can use it in anything. And I can just about the circular saw. I can use it all over the place. So good stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty smart. Make an interchangeable battery that's good across all your appliances. Just boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I like it. Says Dark Steve's got some yard work to do. Have a good one, Dark Steve. And let me see. Just call me. It says, damn it, my personalities are in an uproar. Why did you do that? If we were human, we'd feel sorry for all the other humans who share the same frustration. Except for us, it's forever.
Yeah. So to answer the Turing Test 2's question, it's the other end. Yeah, you should be opening it from the other end. Basically, the end with that long stem thing is actually tougher than the other end. The other end is easier to open from. Yep. For a banana, yes. Hello, Thor Rasmussen. But it really is a strange sort of what does there's so much about Darth that is so confusing, because let's suppose that everybody says his claim that everybody knows God exists is correct. Why did people ever believe in any other gods? Right. So these are people. There are people who don't believe in any God, fine. But there are people who believe in gods, but not the one that they know actually exists. Is that his argument? So they've decided not only not to believe in God, but to believe in something else that from their perspective is completely made up. Yes.
It's like in favor of something, like they know, because apparently there are entailments that come with the Christian God. So if the Christian God is the one that exists, and there are things that are obviously true beyond that point, it's like, these are the parameters of Christianity. This is what you have to believe in. This is the manner in which you are saved, in which you avoid hell. Blah 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 blah. That you have no personal autonomy. You have no mental autonomy. Everything is predicated on God, and that's where you derive all meaning and value, and any kind of objectivity all comes from God. So therefore, your autonomy is nothing there. So therefore, if you're denying God, it's because you value your autonomy over God, and so you don't want to give that up. So you're going to sacrifice your eternity for your earthly autonomy now, and it's insane, because just looking at what that logically entails, I'm giving up my autonomy, my ability to make choices, my free will, and my willingness to live my life and experience things and engage with people. No, I'm supposed to curtail all of that and literally live my life in a box, constantly trying to repent for things that I haven't done, to repent just for my birth, because apparently we're born broken. Yeah, we're born broken and failed. So I need to repent for my own birth. And I have to live my life in this box until I die, and then I'm saved and redeemed by Christ. So that's literally his world. I think in his mind, and he's thinking that he's following 1 Corinthians when he is going out and attacking people the way he does, when he's abusive towards atheists and calls us filthy atheists. We're all going, you're all burning in hell. We're all liars and scumbags and whatever. That's what he's got, because that's all he's got. That's his box. That's the box he lives in, and constantly begging for forgiveness for having been born.
Well, this is at the risk of amateur psychoanalysis, this is a man who's very, very angry at the world, and wants a reason to yell at people and be right, and so he has constructed this tautological position, this essentially circular set of axioms from which no discussion is even possible. So, which is perfect for his purpose, because he doesn't actually want a discussion. He just wants to yell at people, kind of like Nathan Oakley.
Yes.
His business model is just yelling at people.
He's definitely Nathan Oakley of theism. Absolutely.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw the snippets of Nathan Oakley explaining the appeal of flat Earth to a rather bemused-looking gentleman. But if space is real, then they're almost certain. Then that the way he presented it, there are certainly aliens, which I don't think is necessarily true. There is a very small probability that there are no aliens whatsoever. It's not an impossible outcome. It just seems very, very unlikely. Yep. But if flat Earth is true and there's no space, then humans are the only game in town, and therefore, there's no thorny theological questions. So that's the appeal of flat Earth. And you're just going, well, you're missing the key issue here. Is it true? Right? Is it accurate? This gets into this. What is his name? That New Zealand guy who goes around asking all the stupid questions. You don't know where you're going. You don't know where you come from. You don't know where you are, and you're a liar and a thief and whatever.
He walks around in public saying this to people.
And you're just going, the only advantage you've got over that is you think you know where you're going, you think you know where you come from, you're still a thief and a liar. Ray Comfort, that's the one.
Okay.
Bananas are perfectly designed.
But PhD Tony, NA said it. It's on the screen.
Let me scroll back up because it's.
Oh, it was down. No. It was. Hang on a sec. I actually was. Just call me obvious. So bananas are designed to be open. Designed by whom? Yeah. Because we weren't at that meeting.
Well, so there are two arguments for this. A, it is mechanically the way it works. B, if you watch, say, a chimpanzee open a banana, they open it from the other end. And C, at the Australian Open a few years ago, they brought out a banana for a guy who tried opening it from the traditional end, and he spent like 5 minutes. This is a professional athlete. Spent like 5 minutes trying to get this bloody banana open.
He tried to open it from the end, from I guess the
stem end, and it wasn't.
And he's
And
like,
of course,
he's smashing it inside.
and of course, you know, if you try too hard, you end up mashing it inside. Now you've got no traction whatsoever, and it just doesn't work. And you know so being Australian, obviously the public spectacle of, you know, a professional athlete wrestling with a banana for a few minutes was not lost on anybody.
That's
And
it's like that video of the dude saying, "This phone is unbreakable. Nothing can break this phone," and he hands it to the dude anywhere and it shatters it. Gotta love it.
And you know, it is just the way it is. You know, sort of it turns out that there is a good, well, perhaps, you know, we've been opening it at the wrong end is perhaps an overstatement. We've been opening it from the harder end to open a banana from. There is an easy end. It's the other end of the banana. Freakish humans, yes.
Let me see.
That's what we are.
I saw somebody new in there. Robert Caslow is in the house. Says, "What's up, my Globetards and heretics? What's up?" Thank you so much for popping in, Robert. And Basic Drake says, "I consider myself an accuser of the brethren." Dib, good to see you in the house. Thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining. Alpha K901, you're not late. You arrived precisely when you meant to. Yeah. Let me see here. Robert coming in, and they're talking about Ray Comfort. Yeah, let's scroll down because it's going so quick. It's awesome that I have that it goes fast. That means people are engaging, which is sweet. AJ Heap said, "Old roommate told me just got an unbreakable polycarbonate water bottle. Set it down next to a 24-inch pipe wrench. What did he expect me to do? Turns out it wasn't unbreakable. I did get him a new one." A 24-inch pipe wrench. Oh, whoops.
Yes.
Test failed.
Yeah, Dib does make an excellent point. Schrodinger's cat is apparently unboxing and laughing at dumb stuff. So it's a difficult time. But for us to be streaming, but we do the best we can anyway.
Yeah. Is Schrodinger's doing an unboxing stream?
I think he's just doing a live stream. It's unboxing and laughing at dumb stuff. So I think he's just I think it might be dumb stuff. It's dumb S. Maybe it's dumb sovsits. Maybe it's dumb sovsits stuff. Who can tell? I'm not there.
Let's see. Apparently, Alpha K91 says, we're saying to AJ Heap, he said he changed from bananas to broccoli for a while until he learned that broccoli is just another selectively bred cultivar, just like bananas. Yes. We have so mucked with our produce. I don't even think the vast majority of Americans realize that they wouldn't be able to eat regular bananas, like a wild banana.
Well, it's true of everything. Wheat does not grow wild, right? We've taken wheat and we've domesticated it. We've turned it into what it is today. It wasn't originally like that. And a lot of our food doesn't really grow that way in the wild. It's been selectively bred to over many generations to have the properties that make it a sustainable food source. Just like the animals, the wild cattle don't look anything like domestic cattle. Wild horses, smaller and differently designed from domesticated horses, etc., etc. There's just, the things we see and we think are normal. Actually, a lot of effort went into making them the way they are, that humans put in. Ray Comfort's entire everything was designed by God for the benefit of humans argument is fatuous gibberish. As is his entire stick. Like the thing about this thing about, well, you're a liar and a thief. Yeah, but you know what I didn't do? I didn't kill every man, woman, and child and animal on the planet because I was having a fucking hissy fit in the way your God did. So your God wants to judge me. Let's look at all the shit that he has done. 10 commandments. Is there a commandment against rape? Is there a commandment against slavery? No, but there are 4 commandments dedicated to not pissing him off because he's such a thin-skinned baby, apparently, for somebody who created the damn universe. Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. What I should accept this idiot's judgment? He's a douchebag if he exists. If he exists, he has to be a douchebag. And as somebody said, 100, worshipping God would get old after the first 100 million years. You'd probably think, but the douchier he is, the quicker it's going to get old. I think I'd want to kick him in the nuts in the first 30 seconds.
Agreed.
Pretty much.
Someone was asking, and I will share this real quick. Elizabeth was asking, what does the difference between a wild banana and a domesticated one, the ones that we have cultivated? And and someone said, who was it? Robert Kessler? No, wait. Olive said, oh yeah, wild banana. Okay, so AJ said wild bananas are small, gross, and full of large seeds, among other differences. Okay, go. So Elizabeth, this is for you. I wanted to show this to you. This is a wild banana. Smaller, full of very large seeds. And they actually don't taste very good either. So they've been cultivated for specifically to get rid of the seeds and to improve the taste of it and the size of it. So, but yeah, the bananas you eat, not what bananas actually look like. So yeah, those are actual bananas. That's why when Ray Comfort is sitting there holding the bananas, like, look, it fits the grooves of your hand so perfectly. The ones that we selectively bred for so long, those wound up looking like that, not the ones that grew naturally. So.
Yeah. It's
AJ Heeb. I can imagine 100 trillion years of you're the best God. God's like, no, you're the best, AJ. He's like, no, you are. No, you are. Hashtag hell sounds better.
Well, I don't think God is that, if God were the humble, no, you're the best AJ sort, then he wouldn't have 4 commandments dedicated to, you guys really need to make sure to kiss my ass, which is more important than an injunction against rape or embezzlement or corporate malfeasance or any or wealth inequality or the importance of education. No, we need 4 commandments about not calling God names, not worshipping any other gods, which is an interesting one because that suggests that other gods exist, right? It just suggests that they're not worthy of, that you shouldn't worship them because you'll make this other god jealous.
And that's the thing. Is like, if God is there and is the only God, the only real God, the only God that exists, and God is saying don't worship any other gods, but God is omniscient or at least has like a grand amount of knowledge and knows that any other God worship doesn't actually exist. So God knows those gods don't exist. You're not you're worshiping vaporware. It's not actually there. God knows this. Yes. And knows that it's like, no, why does this dude just worship something else? There's no God there. That doesn't exist. I'm the only God that exists. Why would he get jealous over that? I'd be laughing my ass off. Or I'd be wondering where I went wrong as God. I'd be like, damn, what did I not do?
And what's the point, right? I mean, you create these things. What? Just so that they can turn around and kiss your ass?
Right.
That's what you wanted out of the entire exercise. Don't you have a heavenly host whose job that is? Right? Why create the humans? You're back in prophecy territory at that stage.
Well, to hear Darth say it, it's because it's the redemptive plan of humanity. Why does an all-powerful being need to create something that needs to be redeemed?
Yes, and
that makes no sense.
And it is, So one of the things that I think, one of the problems I have with Christianity in particular is that their business model relies around the manipulation of guilt. So they make you guilty for being you. If you want to have sex, you should feel guilty about that. If you want to have sex in a way that expresses you, you should feel guilty about that. You should feel guilty about having fun. You should feel guilty about, as you said earlier, just being human is enough. You are guilty of that. In other words, there's no way to avoid being guilty, and therefore you need redemption. Well, hang on. Let's step back a second here. I didn't make myself human, right? God did that. So I'm supposed to be redeeming myself for something that God did. Yeah, it doesn't. It seems all very masturbatory if we break it down.
Agreed. Which is what Dr. Lawrence Krauss called it. Or it was Lawrence Krauss called it. It's just intellectual masturbation. That's all it is. It doesn't get you anywhere other than to reaffirm your own convictions. And I agree. So yeah, it's there's just do not envy, even the thought crime of envy, right? Or well, actually, envy is a very natural emotional state that has an evolutionary purpose. I'm not saying that I'm not saying we should give free rein to every evolutionary state, but if you feel envious about something, and then you go, but they deserved it, and they earned that, and I didn't, so they get that. That's or they were just in the right place at the right time, so they get the rewards for that. Right.
Nobody is being harmed in that process, right? There's no actual harm that's being done. You had an impulse, you recognized it was a negative impulse. You don't need to be condemned to hell for it. You don't need to get somebody's forgiveness for it because you didn't act on it, right? It's actual actions that matter, not these thought crimes that they're suggesting are the key things. The 7 deadly sins, anger, sloth, blah blah blah. The majority of them, they're thought crimes. They're not actual physical acts that that is causing somebody to suffer. They're thought crimes, and
it's one of the things behind going like one of the things I bring up in the series that I'm still working on that examines Christianity in all its forms, not just like Catholicism, but Christianity as a whole, as a cult. Because predominantly it's behavioral control, it's information control, thought control, and emotional control. Commander Darklight brought something up here real quick. Tyler West says, if the Bible is not man-made, it certainly has the appearance of being man-made. You're right. It does. If God exists and there are logical entailments of God's existence, then we would expect to see this. If this is true, then we expect to see this. If we don't see this, then we can logically conclude that this does not exist. So I think Dawkins brought that up in one of his argumentations that we observe the universe. If we make the assumption that God exists and God has these traits, this is not the universe that we would say, because this universe that we observe does not comport with those traits. So either we're defining God wrong or God does not exist. So thank you, Tyler West, for popping in. It's good to see you. Let me see. Robert Caslow, you're right. George Carlin has many fantastic bits on that. I love worshiping the sun or worshiping Joe Pesci because Joe Pesci gets shit done.
Mhm.
That's right, AJ Heath. There is another AJ in the chat. Ready, fight! Johnny O can come and claim tickets to Universal Studios for himself and his wife, family next time he's in Los Angeles. That's badass. And thank you, Johnny O, for helping out Alpha with the membership thing. It's difficult. You can't see when you're doing mobile. You have to do it from desktop or use the desktop settings, like desktop mode, on your phone in order to see the join button. So thank you, Johnny, for helping out Alpha out with that. Sir Little Wolf, we are not going to get into that again because and not because it's not funny, but because I miss Jessica G. I wish she would come back. I hope we see her again sometime. I know she's like on sabbatical or something, but I miss Jessica G. And I miss her fieriness.
Yeah.
Vesta Frey is in the house and says, Peachy Tony, I saw your post on Aaron Ra's last video. So how do you really feel about SFT?
Yeah, standing for truth.
Express yourself.
I shall express myself because perhaps, obviously, I left it ambiguous. Standing for truth is a lying, contemptible scumbag who makes fatuous and demonstrably false claims about the state of scientific literature in support of his creationist viewpoint. Aside from that, he seems like a mean-spirited, aggressively obnoxious douchebag. But I'm sure his parents think that he is better than a flaming bag of poop on their doorstep.
Interesting. So Elizabeth says, I'm on my phone without desktop version, and I see the join button. Maybe it was wrong, because I know that maybe it's an iPhone thing, because when I go to people's pages on my iPhone, I can't see it unless I switch to desktop mode. Maybe it's an iPhone thing, and maybe it's not an Android thing. I'm not sure. There's a lot I don't know about it because I just don't look into tech like that much. I just try to figure out a solution, and that's pretty much it. Alpha K91 says, don't forget Douglas Adams' ruthless trolling of theists. He had my favorite arguments against God. The Babelfish argument is an excellent argument. It's like, oh dear, I hadn't thought of that. And then he disappeared in a puff of logic.
Yes.
And then man went on and says, oh, well, that was easy. And then went on to prove that black was equal to white, and then got immediately killed in the first zebra crossing.
Yes.
So Elizabeth says, yes. Oh, yep, Elizabeth's on an Android. So it is an Android. Right. It is an Android iOS issue there. Gotcha. That's apparently a thing. A lot of issues. Differences between iOS and Android. Basic Trick says, wasn't it the Gnostics that said that the Christian God was evil, and then the Christians turned around and killed them? Yes. Gnostics. Yeah, it's pretty much it. If anybody stood up against the God, or anybody just like the Jews, anybody who did not accept Yahweh and rejected Yahweh was an automatic enemy of their God. It was like what they declared. Virtually every other tribe in Canaan, they declared as enemies of Yahweh because they did not accept Yahweh as their God. Predominantly the Hittites, because the Hittites were the largest and they controlled the most areas of land. Just because Hattusa was a massive capital, and the Hittites were pretty expansive before they were swallowed up by the Assyrians and became the Neo-Assyrian Empire. And they hated the Hittites, declared them to be enemies of Yahweh, enemies of the Judeans people, that they needed to fight them at all costs. And what's really hilarious is that's the Bible. But if you look into Hittite, through that excavation that was done in the early 1900s, when the Hittite Empire was uncovered and people started excavating it, there are diplomatic correspondences between the Hittites, between Hattusa, their capital, and other areas or in other groups, because they talked to each other. There was trade that went amongst them, and Muambala II was actually a pretty progressive king. He was like, we got to work some shit out. We can't just be warring all the time. And so the Hittites talked about border skirmishes with the Jews, but they really didn't consider them that big. They're kind of like, there's these cats to the south, that just kind of like every time they come around, it's like, it's our farming land. And then they try to, and then it's just what it was. The Jews didn't even rate to the Hittites because the Hittites were more concerned with the Assyrians, to the Assyrians to the east, because they're like, those cats we need to be concerned about. And eventually what happened was Assyria expanded and then swallowed the Hittite Empire. And Muambala was a progressive dude. He talked about border skirmishes with the Jews, but the Jews were like, he's the enemy of God. But he never even mentioned the capital. You think you know your enemy, the capital of your enemy's country, which is Hattusa, and the king, who was Muambala II. Two things that never appear in the Bible. Because the people that wrote it, they were Jewish, and they were deeply fucking ignorant of what was going on, because geopolitics really didn't play a factor in writing the Bible, because you don't know what the people around you were saying about you, because the people around the Jews really they didn't really pop up on their radar. They're just kind of like, there's these guys kind of to the south, and just like, they're really, really angry. We just don't really fuck with them that much. If they cross into our territory, we'll skirmish with them, but it's like, whatever. So yes, Tina Jones, hashtag we all miss Jess. We do miss Jess. Let's see. Basic Tricks is Erica of Gutsick Gibbon regularly destroys SFT. Yeah.
Which reminds me, I'm supposed to be. I need to schedule a discussion with Erica. So.
Oh, awesome! I'd love to listen on that.
Well, hoping to do a video together.
That'd be sweet. I'd like to see that. She does Guts at Gibbon. Remember, I've seen her on I've seen her on no, damn it. I've literally stopped listening to modern day debates.
All right. Okay.
I've seen her on MTD. She's anthropologist, archaeologist, biologist, evolutionary biologist. She's in one of those fields.
Yeah, I think she's an anthropologist.
Anthropologist, yeah. If she's the girl I'm thinking of, she is crazy smart about it. She knows her field. And I was like, damn. Yeah. I wish I was like. I'm kind of like that in psychology because I maintain. I keep the current copies of the DSM near me, and I just try to stay on top of it. But that girl's just like boom, boom, boom. I love seeing people who dig their fields like that. Who just they fucking love it. I love that.
Yes.
Tony Regime says, don't forget God's last message was, we apologize for the inconvenience.
I'm being corrected. Primatologist. She's a primatologist.
She's a primatologist. Nice. Primatologist. She studies monkey evolution. Very cool.
Okay. Well, I consider that sort of anthropology, but whatever. Humans are monkeys, right?
I had someone try to throw that argument at me. He was like, well, evolution just like, well, you think humans are monkeys? I was like, no, I don't. Humans are primates. Well, that's what primates are. Primates would know. Primates are either monkeys or apes. We are technically apes, so we are one of the great apes. Yes, It's like, come on, dude. Do you not know? Was it the taxonomy? Or do you not know taxonomy, the difference between an ape and a monkey? Do you not know phylogeny, how this works? Have you studied anything of this? Is like, yeah.
I think apes are still a class of monkey, right?
Well, I think monkeys that they have tails, and apes do not have tails. That's part of their taxonomy, and there are other differences as well. But
I think that okay. No, there are monkeys that don't have tails, and there are apes that do have tails. So
what apes have tails? The great apes, gorillas, no. Orangutans, no. Chimps, no. Bonobos, no.
Great ape. Yes, you were talking about great apes there.
That's technically what we are, right? Where is Erica when we need her?
Okay.
to teach us these things. While he's looking at that, trans girl, good to see you in the house. So glad you were able to stop by. And Robert Caslow says, humans come from whale snot. You're probably not wrong, given how fucking weird evolution is.
Yeah. So So you are correct. Actually, apes do not have tails,
Bingo.
and
I thought so.
but some monkeys don't have tails either.
Yeah, I think there are other differences, but that's one of the morphological differences between the two that allows us to taxonomically differentiate them. Let me see. According to Aaron Raw, apes are in a subclade of monkeys. Okay.
Yes.
He would know it better than I do because this is not my field.
Yeah.
I just kind of going trying to remember the things I've read.
I was just watching Aaron Ra's series on phylogeny, which is why I felt confident enough to make the claim that humans are monkeys. Apparently, the idea, the orientation of the nostrils is one of the ways that we can, that we have vertical nostrils that go up and down.
Okay,
It is a key diagnostic of exactly what type of primate we are. But anyway.
Let me see here. Tony Regime says, JL, PhD Tony, Terry Pratchett considered that humans should be called pan-narins, the storytelling chimpanzee. We do tell stories.
We do tell stories. Well, it turns out that there was a recent study published about the greetings that chimpanzees offer one another, and apparently chimpanzees they greet one another and they farewell one another, and actually bonobos tend to be more polite than normal chimpanzees.
I think they're definitely more emotionally developed. If you were talking about like emotional quotient, intelligent quotient, their emotional quotient, their emotional depth, I think is more developed than human beings are. Is that that compassion is a thing that runs through their social groups a great deal more than ours does. There's more trust. Yeah, there's more trust. There's more acceptance. And just more compassionate behavior between them. The tribalism doesn't exist in bonobos like it exists in humans, gorillas, or chimpanzees.
Okay.
Chimpanzees who are deeply tribal.
Yes. So yeah, it's but the reality is I don't think that humans are the more we learn about the way that various classes of animal operate, the more we learn that actually humans aren't that special.
Alpha they resolve their problems by having group sex and sharing food.
They are yes, bonobos are famous for making love, not war. Yes.
How many problems could be solved if humans did this? Like, really?
Well,
here's a burger. No, here's a lay and a burger.
Yeah, well,
I'm not willing to fight after a lay and a burger. I'm good to go. He's like, you know what? I ain't even worried about it.
The problem becomes that somebody who is willing to fight after a lay and a burger now has an evolutionary advantage over you.
Oh, fuck that, dude. We outnumber them. We'll ostracize them like we do all the other sick ones. We just put him out there. He gets no food and he gets no one to mate with. His genes will not be passed on. It's not selective.
So yeah, evolution. So in an environment where everybody's pacifistic, an aggressive individual has a huge evolutionary advantage. In an environment where everybody is aggressive, a pacifistic person has a huge evolutionary advantage because they're actually valuable, right? They're not going to attack you. They're not going to shark you. You can work with them. So they actually enjoy a huge evolutionary advantage because suddenly it's in the interest of an aggressive person to defend that one, right? So there's actually an evolutionary sort of divergence away from either of the endpoints of this spectrum. You're never really going to get to a point where everybody's pacifistic or everybody's aggressive. You're kind of going to get a blend.
Let's see. So Alpha Canano says, this is why they don't display bonobos in zoos. And welcome to the fucking closure.
Yeah.
We're neck deep in bonobos. They keep breeding. Nick Sykes says, bonobos are polite. until it's time to not be polite. I probably think. I mean, I'm imagining that the species they can defend themselves.
They probably can, but they're nowhere near as aggressive as Clive, for instance, is bringing up the examples of chimpanzees, non-bonobo chimpanzees, pursuing wars, basically, and going on aggressive patrols, and just killing individuals of chimpanzees who are individual chimpanzees who are not part of their social group. So there's they are, quite famously, they're one of the animals we know of that actually goes to war.
You look at the difference. You look at the difference between a bonobo and a chimp. Chimps are built for it. Yeah, chimps are like straight upper body. And then bonobos are just the slighter builds. So I can get that. But I'm looking at pictures of bonobo teeth and their canines, and I'm thinking they could hold their own.
They probably could. You certainly don't want to get bitten by a chimp. And in fact, canine displays are an important social feature for other primates. You'll often see baboons, for instance, doing this elaborate yawn where they show off just how massive their canines are.
Yeah.
And it's it's quite intimidating. And there have been examples, for instance, of the groups of chimpanzees in the US breaking out of their enclosure and just beating the living crap out of a guy who was seated outside.
I mean, they're nasty. They go for the eyes, they go for the genitals, they go for the face. And
there was a lot of biting of the sacrum and pelvis, and he ended up paralyzed as a result of the attack.
Damn.
So, and losing fingers and
I've heard they go for the hands too. They'll try to disable your hands, disable your feet, your junk, your eyes. They go for all the weak spots. And try to, chimps are no joke. Like, they're mean as shit.
Yeah. Well, you're a part of our social group, Elizabeth Sylvester. So we're a social group.
Yes, we are a social group, and just as we will circle the wagons to protect members of a social group, we will for you, Elizabeth. You are our social group.
Yeah.
Trans Girl says that there's an ape rescue here in the Netherlands. They just rescued a chimp who was so cute until she became an adolescent. The owner was almost killed by her. Yep.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They are incredibly strong animals, and it's kind of like having a really powerfully built MMA fighter as a kid, right? You don't. It's like that Twilight Zone episode about the kid with the godlike powers. You don't give godlike powers to kids because kids don't have the restraint necessary for that to be a safe option. Actually, you don't give godlike powers to anybody, and indeed you can't, which is probably a good thing. But yes, they start out very, very cute, and then they grow into these big creatures, big, very strong creatures who can mess you up if they have a bit of a bad day. So they become quite difficult.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, I can actually see if I can share this. Hang on a second, I gotta find a really solid one. Okay, so so let's. I want to share this one. It's now that I can. Because Clive was saying, "Oh, you can share pictures now." I was like, "Yes, I can." But this is an idea. So apparently there is a hairless chimp, and this is him. This is a side view. So because obviously chimps have hair, and so you can't get a lot of definition on them. But when they're hairless, then they can look like that. And you get to see the definition. That's a side view of him. But you look at those arms.
Yeah. Yep.
And it ain't like that cat's like at the gym. It's natural.
Yes.
Like, yo. That dude
And we've sacrificed. Yeah, and I mean, you look at the if you look at Aaron Ra's series on phylogeny, which I highly recommend that everybody does. It's a 51 episode epic that traces the development of life on Earth, and it is fascinating viewing. He really has done a fantastic job with that. He will explain why and how we came to diverge from chimpanzees and the ways in which we have gained various forms of evolutionary advantage by trading off mass, by trading off musculature in return for other things. There's a and it's quite an interesting watch, but it also refutes one of the key creationist arguments, which is to say, it would be cool if I had wings, or it would be cool if I were much stronger. Well, that's not the way, that's not the way this works. It works by incremental changes that give you an advantage. And we've moved in the particular direction that we have, because it gives us the ability to formulate complicated ideas and communicate them clearly to one another, and manipulate things in exceptional detail, in ways that our competitor species can't do, and it's given us the huge advantage we enjoy today. But that's why we don't look like that, is because we've had to sort of change up. In order to get brains this big, we've had to make some compromises on how things work. We've diverted, a lot of energy away from developing musculature to developing our brains, and we have to give birth to incapacitated babies, because if our heads were any bigger, we'd be destroying the mothers. So there's only so big our head can be, and still get out of our mother without killing them. So there are trade-offs. There are compromises that are made in our design, and it's very interesting to hear Aaron Ra go through it. Like I say, can't recommend enough that people check that out.
I'm sitting here looking at that because I'm kind of fascinated. I was going through these images. I was looking at gorillas. And gorillas are just units, dude. Just straight units.
They are.
Like these gorillas just kind of sitting around, kind of like, yeah, what's up? And it's just like, do you even live, bro?
Yeah.
But this is I'll show this for the people who don't know. I'll show this. This is what Tony has to deal with, because Tony's Tony's in Australia, so there is things that Tony has to deal with, and this is one of them. Let me get this. Where's he at? So this is what Tony deals with. And I will pop this, and here we go. So we do this, and I'll show this over so people see. So this is what Tony deals with. This is what he has to be concerned with every day living in Australia. Dude.
Yes, that's a particularly well built. Yeah, but they do have quite impressive musculature on their chest and upper arms. It is kind of intimidating, and because they do a lot of when they're eating, they do a lot of just they want to move not so far that they'll do a bounce, so they'll sort of rest their entire weight on their forelegs and just swing their back legs a little bit forward, so they end up quite built. They do lift apparently. I think that's a big red, which is
red kangaroo.
So you won't find any of those where I live. We have eastern greys pretty much everywhere.
I'm looking at pictures of red. I'm looking at pictures of red kangaroos, and these dudes are just like straight jacked bosses. These things are boss level. They are gnarly.
They are gnarly, and they fight one another. I'm not sure if you can bring up a picture of kangaroos fighting.
I sure can.
But they fight one another by sort of rearing onto their tails and kicking the crap out of one another with their back legs, and holding one another. They do this thing with their front legs, holding one another at a distance, and then they do this flurry of kicking with their back legs. And I believe that there was a news article here a few months ago about that's how they do their fighting. Those are Eastern Greys, by the way.
That one root's like, damn! Right in the diaphragm.
And there was a news story here where a guy had to defend his dog, who was being beaten up by a kangaroo. For some reason, this kangaroo took a dislike to this dog, and the owner had to step in to sort of punch the kangaroo a couple of times, which the kangaroo didn't react well to. Actually, I seem to recall that a red kangaroo has beaten a man to death, has killed an adult male. So
damn,
they're not necessarily animals that you would start a physical confrontation with. Like a cassowary. Cassowaries have killed people as well.
Let me see here. So this was reported in the BBC. It says kangaroo launches savage attack on family in Queensland. An Australian wildlife carer has suffered a punctured lung as she and her family fought off a savage attack by a kangaroo at their party. They were feeding she and her husband were feeding kangaroos hit by drought conditions in Queensland when the 6-foot gray turned on Jim. The couple and their son fought off the attack with a broom and a shovel. The animal hopped off before the bush hopped off into the bush before services could arrive. And apparently, this one kangaroo came in, and I thought it was golly gosh, one of the kangaroos we raised. It was a huge gray, would have been at least 6 feet. And her husband was feeding it, and then it turned on him. Jim was on the ground, and the kangaroo just kept at him. She fetched a broom, but the kangaroo knocked it out of her hand and attacked her too. Then my son came out to try and help me and hit him over the head with a shovel. She suffered a collapsed lung, broken ribs, abrasions to her arms and legs, and other internal injuries. She underwent surgery that day. Her husband suffered multiple lacerations, and the kangaroo just kind of shrugged it off and just bugged off. So yeah, they're not. They're a lot of animals. You wouldn't want to start a fight with a caribou, really. I mean, we're not really hand-to-hand fighters against a lot of animals because they tend to be reasonably strong, and so there's a reason we use tools for most of the stuff we want to do. Let me see here. Did Andrat? Mr. Andrat popped in the chat. Hey, Mr. Andrat, good to see you. Let me see. Who else? What was it? Basic Trade said, what are they like defending a rear naked choke? I don't think they're ready for that. I don't think you can get your hands on it. I don't think you get your hands on them like that. I do, if you want to like to tangle with that, because they can get their feet up, because despite how large their feet are, they can get their feet up underneath them really quick, and you would not be on the receiving end of them kicking you at close distance, because they're always going to try and keep. I mean, they're going to try and keep you in front of them because that's where their attack is. They're not going to let you get around behind them. And I think the Roo is considerably faster than a human. I'm just going to say
much faster than a human. So it's a yes. If you could grapple them and get behind them, it would be a different fight. But all fights are about maintaining distance and angle to your advantage. And kangaroos aren't going to. Kangaroos may not have the analytical skills that we do, but they know about distance and angle, and they're not going to. They're
just going to let you get around behind them.
Yeah.
They know where they're weak, so they're not going to let another kangaroo jump on their back and start going at them. And so if they get an opportunity, they have you in their sights, they're going to be like, okay, then they're going to keep you right there. They're not going to let you if you try to circle them, they're not going to they're not going to let you. AJ's asking, how heavy do they get?
So, I mean, I think that a red kangaroo could easily get up to 80 to 100 kilos. I'd be very surprised if they were smaller than that.
While you're looking at that, Transgirl says, you know what animal kills the most people in Africa? It's not what you think. And I was aware that it was the hippo, that they kill upwards of like 600 people a year in Africa because they are mean as fuck. So, but how heavy do red roos get?
Well, they say 47 kilos for an adult, 50 to 66 for the eastern grey. Maybe I'm. I thought the big red was okay. This still gives the same. The red kangaroo is the largest of all the kangaroos. Okay.
Mr. Andret says, try to fight a small white-tailed deer. And that's true. Whitetails will whoop your ass. And it doesn't matter. I would not fight a deer at all because the deers here, and I know that you're familiar with deers, but whitetail, especially white-tailed deers, their hooves are specially designed for speed and for agility, so that they can change directions very, very quickly. So they're small and they're sharp, so they can get traction, so they can run really, really fast. And the way they attack is they get up on their hind legs, and when they're not trying to, if they have antlers, they'll try to use their antlers. But when they attack, they get up on their hind legs and they stab, and they will mess you up. There's no joke how dangerous whitetails could be, especially a buck during mating season. The bucks will just rip you apart. So
So more research of male red kangaroo weighs between 55 to 90 kilograms.
God.
I
would fuck with one.
I would avoid confrontations with any wildlife whatsoever.
I will find an alligator.
Sorry.
I was saying, Sir Little Wolf says, don't go hand to hoof with a moose. Not just that. Did you know? I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know how many people know this. Did you know that moose is a part of orca diet? That orcas prey regularly on moose.
I did not know that, but it's not entirely surprising. They do like to sort of come up on beaches, so they're not ocean bound as you might imagine.
It's because there are areas in Canada where moose will dive to get underwater vegetation during times of the year, and the orcas have figured out that moose can actually dive quite deep, and so the moose will find a particular area and they'll dive down to go get vegetation that grows down there when things become sparse up top. So they figured out that they can swim down there, grab food, then come back up. The orcas figured out that the moose were doing this, and the orcas will make sure that their migrations intersect with moose grazing areas, and they'll hunt moose underwater while they're diving for seagrass. And I was like, you imagine being a diver and seeing that. The moose, the orca. It's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm finished.
I'm not sure if you've seen there's a guy by the name of Ryan George, an actor who does these little skits where he sort of does multiple sides of a conversation.
Oh, yes. He does the movie pitches. And
he does the movie pitches, yes.
Oh, you're roboting again.
Sorry. Okay. And, yeah. Oops. Okay, I'll try.
Are you sure? I'm sorry, I had to mute it. Are you sure it's not interference from your phone? Oh, he's got a phone call, so he's got to deal with that. Just call me. Abby says, Tony's leaving us. The mothership is calling. The Mike Gremlin is back. We were doing so well. Man, okay. Well, while he is dealing with that, he may be back. Yeah, from what I understand, moose, no joke. Moose not to be messed with because they're really ornery. And I saw a video once of a moose just running through like for a human to be like, I was like running through like almost it was like a moose running through what looked like almost thigh-high water. Like the water wasn't even there. Just tearing through deep water like it was just, whatever. Robert Caslow, the laser penguins guarding the ice wall are the most dangerous. Yes, the government NASA Jew penguins are very, very dangerous and very dedicated to their mission. Let me see. Well, this, Tony, you're muted. He may miss with that. I'm pretty sure he heard me. There he is. Good?
Yeah, it should be good. Something weird is happening. But anyway, can you hear me now?
There's a tiny bit of feedback, but it sounds okay. It sounds like a loose cable is what it sounds like.
Well, okay, so...
Hey, Steaming Cup of Reason. Score is in the room.
Okay.
Good to see. Oh, there you go. Now you sound good.
Okay.
And Tony Regime says, what about the sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads?
Yes, you can make any animal more dangerous with laser beams, assuming, of course, that those lasers are sufficiently powerful to actually do anything more than put a red dot on somebody. But I guess a red dot around a large enough cat can be dangerous. So
true.
So
why don't I have sharks with laser beams? Well, while you were frozen, they were put on the endangered species list. So I mean, the red tape alone would have killed us. So
they do make some interesting points. But it's yes, pretty much don't pick fights with animals.
Yes,
which would seem like a sensible enough arrangement.
So I was wondering something, and I want to run this by the animal that owns the Amazon, the giant river otter. Yes, that is. I've watched videos of the giant river otter, not to be fucked with. That is a hard. Everything in the Amazon is afraid of the giant river otter because 1, they're mean as hell. 2, they're nasty predators. 3, they will eat anything that they can get their little claws on. And 4, they attack in packs. They're voracious, and they get upwards of 6 feet long. So no, giant river otters, no joke. And they'll go after humans. They'll go after anything that moves because they're highly territorial. I saw a video of an otter ripping apart a snapping turtle like it was just paper. So yeah, they don't play around. I have something I want to run by you, Tony, since we're the only two here, and unfortunately I can't run it by Irish and everybody. It was bothering me for a while that, for some reason, you've got Nathan Thompson, running around doing his thing. And not anymore, apparently. Apparently now he's just happy being a shirtless dirt farmer in California, which is cool. He can go do that. I don't care. But then you got like Austin Whitsitt running around, getting arrested at the Rushmore, getting arrested at Rushmore, and all kinds of stupidness. So, doing a tour. So I was thinking like this. I was wondering the logistics of this. So Irish is in Australia. Irish is in Ireland. He could get here once we get over the situations. You're in Australia, and I'm sure you eventually have plans to come to the States.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Cool. And I'm kind of curious. What if, I mean, if our channels were successful enough, we were able to pool this into an actual project where we could film. What we do is the Four Beardsmen, and we want to do a thing where it's like the Four Beardsmen. We go to visit Ireland, and then we see like Ireland do kind of like this. What if we did a tour here in America, not just like a dedicated thing where it's not just the Four Beardsmen go to Ireland, the Four Beardsmen go to Australia, the Four Beardsmen go, well, not where we go visit a place and then pal around and do whatever and have fun, but we go out like with a legitimate, kind of thing. Whereas like we have conversations with people, we find people to talk to in various fields. We engage with individuals like in different cities. We get a real sense of what it's like out there talking instead of just saying like, oh, the majority of people think of this. Like if we did like a random thing, like we stop people in the streets, like, do you believe Earth is flat? No, it's stupid, and just get the reactions. But we sit down and engage with conversations, and then we like maybe check out pubs or we check out universities or we do whatever, and we planned this all. And I'm talking like, and if we have the money, we rent a super nice freaking RV, and then plan the trip around wherever we want to hitting landmarks, talking to people, and just, reason, rationality, logic, science, all these kinds of things that we talk about and taking it on the road. Do you think this is a feasible possibility? It's something that we could do, and it's something that people might be interested in?
I think it could be. Yeah, I think, it's sort of, we probably need to consult a little bit more with our audiences and see what sort of things they'd want to see us talking about and talking to people. A Beardsman pub crawl, I don't think is on the cards. But yeah, I think that's an excellent suggestion, and it's something that we should give some thought to. It is actually sort of rather than just going around to sort of tourist sites. And
Avi is a good one, like a space tour, like going to where, like going to Cape Canaveral, going to Houston, and just checking these things out for ourselves, talking to the people there. Okay.
Yeah, I would the Smithsonian would be an interesting place to go, for instance, to sort of see stuff, or Cape Canaveral or one of the California launch sites to go there. There's all sorts of locations in the US to visit. We could even drop by Los Alamos. There are a lot of interesting scientific sites that are worth.
Oh, yeah.
We could also visit the Noah's Ark experience.
Yes.
That would be or Kent Hovind's Dino Park. We could drop in and say hello there. It is an extremely, it's something worth considering. There are a lot of sites that I think would be very interesting, and we could have some interesting conversations around.
And we can check in. We could check in with other YouTubers and that are around the country. We could stop by and say hi to them and invite them out. Like if we go out to have dinner, and then we could hang out with them or just hang out with them on the road. Obviously checking out landmarks, talking to people in various areas, getting a sense of the cultures around, definitely checking out like the South, checking out West Coast, checking out the, wherever, Just have this nice place, and then of course hitting historical landmarks, interesting things, and essentially just I would like to just engage the conversations with people across the board. And we can set it all up in advance, actually have it legitimately planned out, boom, 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 and then just continue on from there. I think it would be neat. And obviously it takes a lot of planning and something that go by.
Yeah.
I was curious, like, if our channels were large enough and then we were able to pull this together, this is something that people would be interested in seeing. And just get one of those rent one of those sexy ass, badass RVs. And that's like super comfortable. That's not like, the Austin Whitsitt RV where I just pulled it out of a junkyard for $500 and I'm crying why it broke down 100 miles from where I started. Stuff like that. I think that would be cool.
That would be very interesting. And there are some interesting sites in the US that are actually, that I can come up with, like the Lake Bonneville is actually important. Yes, is actually an important place, both for the shape of the Earth, but also the characteristics of Earth's rebound. And there are some sites that maybe in Canada or something that are related to that might be worth seeing, because they're you've got beaches that are at an altitude of over 1,000 meters nowadays. So there's just some stuff, just some interesting features.
Gremlin's back.
Okay. Well, actually, I've got to start thinking about going.
Okay, no problem. It's weird when you're thinking about getting out, you have all this time left. It's kind of like, I don't, because you don't technically have to go to bed, right? Oh.
No, I don't have to go to work. I'm working from home at the moment. But I haven't had food yet today, so I do have to start and I'm starting to feel a little bit lightheaded as a result of it. So I might have to go deal with that. It is quite unusual. But and I'm also working on restoring my access to the university's computer. So hopefully the paperwork on that gets through, and I'm back on contract, and we can sort all that out. But
Night Trans Girl says it's past 2 a.m. there, so I'm thinking she's over in Europe somewhere. So good night.
Yep.
Stay safe as well.
Good night. Yep.
What is this? Go to Niagara Falls, show how gravity works. And then Independence Pass in Colorado. Lots of recommendations. Obviously, tons. Dinosaur National Monument in Colorado. Obviously, checking out things like the Grand Canyon. All kinds of things to see would be really, really neat. We could talk a bit about them. I think it would be cool. And then, of course, getting in touch with YouTubers that are local that do this stuff. I'd love to go up north and then talk to get MC2 and talk to him about the various things that are in his area. And I love that stuff. Obviously there's a lot I'm here where I am. There's a lot of Native American culture, Native American history here.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally, this town that I live in is literally on the Trail of Tears. So there's a lot of a lot of history around the things that we could talk about, people we could talk to. So really cool stuff. So it's something to think about. This is obviously not happening this year with all the craziness, obviously with Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta going on. So. Transgirl says she's in the Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands, awesome.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about.
Still Europe.
Europe.
Obviously, team is somebody we want to meet up with. That sounds really, really. Like a really, really good idea. And as you say, I think it's something that we need to put some thought into, because the scale of the traveling is of a different order of magnitude. I mean, Ireland is not a trivial plan. But but yeah, I think you've got a really good concept there, and it's something that I would really love to do. Like, there are just a lot of there are a lot of people I've met online that I'd like to meet in person if I could. That would be great.
Awesome. Very cool. Oh, Steamy Company says you could crash Kent Hovind's trailer park. It's like, we absolutely could.
Yes.
I've seen pictures of his park. It is so janky. It's so, I mean, from American standards, I can tell you, I look at the place, I was like, that is a janky place. It is so cheap looking.
Yeah.
Well, and Robert Caslow, not anymore. I used to be north of Dallas, but I've since moved. I'm no longer north of Dallas, but I know I've lived in Dallas, in the Dallas area for over 30 years, so I know it pretty well. Good.
I wasn't.
Clive Wells says we should visit. Clive Wells says we should visit Area 51.
Yeah, I'm sure. We can film fences just as well as anybody else can, I guess.
I'd like to get up close and at least see the signs. Like, this is as close as we can legally get to Groom Lake. So.
Yes, that's right. So, it probably seems a bit touristy and kitschy to the people who live there, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. All right then. Well, I just get about the time. You said you're hungry. You got to get some to eat. We are exactly at 2 hours. So we are 2 hours. Is a perfect time for a Beardsmen's train. So we'll do the sign out and we're good to go. So Tony, real quick, do you have anything new coming up? Anything?
Hang
on. Goblin again. It went really bad that time.
God damn it.
If you go there, you have to go to Omega Mart. That would be cool. And unfortunately, people say like things like the Mall of America. Unfortunately, the Mall of America is really not that impressive. It's basically like 2 malls housed together, and it's really not that impressive. It's kind of like, oh wow, it's kind of like unfortunately the Alamo. The Alamo just isn't that impressive. It's not. It's kind of like that was like tiny, huh?
Yeah, it's a tiny little fort. It's
I was kind of like, this is the Alamo. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'll So, but there are there are some actually really impressive Native American sites that are less well known that would be worth looking at. Just sort of from and there are of course some sites of American habitation that date from well before the creation of the universe. If you listen to creationists, but we can pick and choose what we want to see. Yes, but I am working on a video which is about Rayleigh waves and the shape of the Earth.
Nice.
Which I might do a short about Alice and Bob, though I'm not sure that it's necessarily worth beating to death. But maybe just a quick explanation of what down means might benefit our flurfer colleagues in their pursuit of knowledge.
Chris Durham kills me. Chris Durham Music Channel, good to see you, says that's why it's so important to remember the Alamo, because it's so forgettable. it's so true.
Excellent point.
Let me see. Grandma Mo says, good to see you. Unfortunately, you caught us right here at the end. So greetings from here's good. She says, Grandma Mo says, greetings to all from Canada. Good to see you. Chris Durham, you caught us right here at the end. Stephen Cup-Reason says, will this be a regular thing? I'll get up earlier next time to be here. And yes, this will be the new time. It's technically still Sunday for us, but it's 5 p.m. It's we literally started at around 5 o'clock. So we'll start around 5 o'clock Sunday evening for us here in the States, and that will be easier for Irish and we'll accommodate Irish and PhD Tony a little bit better. Just because it's near, I think it's around morning where PhD Tony is, and it'll be in the evening where Irish is. It'll just work. It'll just function better for all of us. So this is where it's going to be. Awesome. And as far as I go on my channel, because that is where we're currently at until we figure out something to do with the the whole unification thing. But thank you everybody for coming out. It's been amazing having everybody in the live stream. This is my channel as well, and thank you for making the fact that I'm just I just got monetized recently, so successful. You can be a channel member on my channel, and soon Tony will have those activated on his. So be sure to run over to PhD Tony's and subscribe there. Check out his videos if you haven't had a chance. We got to get his view time up, and we got to get him the subs. You have the subs.
I have the subs, yes.
We got to get PhD Tony's view time up so he can get monetized as well. But of course, you can join my channel. I do have memberships open. They are 99 cents. And of course, you can join the Godless Army and have access to all the cool emojis that I'm going to be making and get your Godless Army badge. So we got that there. And I have a new video coming out here pretty soon where I'm going after Kyle Butt again. I'm so juvenile. And I'm going after Kyle Butt again, who says that he has 6 proofs for God, and I'm telling you straight up, he doesn't. But it's fun, it's hilarious. It's gonna be a good time as soon as I get that edited and done. So thank you all so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully next time we'll have all the Beardsmen on. Say bye, PhD Tony.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Have a good one. Be safe, be excellent to each other. And we will see y'all next time.